Like, share, subscribe.
Hey y'all, welcome back. Number 58 here with another question. Which of the following could be the graph of y equals ax squared plus bx plus c? So basically just saying we have a quadratic. All of these answer choices, and they're not all really quite fitting here, so I'm going to scroll up and down to show you all of them. But you can see they're all parabolas, so they're all going to be these quadratic functions. And the situation here is it says that b squared minus 4ac equals 0. Okay, so what's going on with this b squared minus 4ac? Well, this expression is what we call the discriminant. And the value of the discriminant will tell you how many roots, real roots, your quadratic will have. Okay, so depending on whether it's positive, negative, or 0, will tell you how many total roots they have. So if, and I know here it says it equals 0, but I just want to go through all the cases in case you come up with a similar problem where it says something like b squared minus 4c is less than 0, something like that. So if, so let's say if b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, in other words, if it's negative, there we go, then you have no real roots. Okay, then there are no real roots. And if there's no real roots, the way that's going to be represented on the graph is you're not going to have any x-intercepts. So in other words, the graph won't cross the x-axis. So the graph does not cross or even touch. I'll even go as far as to say it does not touch the x-axis. So like if we're looking at our answer choices, choice C, notice how that parabola does not touch the x-axis. So we can say for choice C, b squared minus 4ac has got to be negative. Okay? So it's not going to be choice C. We can also see something similar going on with choice D. Okay? In this case, b squared minus 4ac is also negative. When that discriminant is negative, you have no real zeros, so the graph doesn't actually touch the x-axis. Now, if you're trying to distinguish between these two graphs, notice that C is opening up and D is opening down. So you would need a separate piece of information to be able to, tell which one is which. And a parabola will open up if that A value or that leading coefficient is positive, and it will open down if that leading coefficient is negative. So either way, neither one of these are going to be the answer choice because we're interested in when the discriminant's equal to 0. But just in case you see a similar problem, I want you to understand how to analyze these particular graphs. Okay, so that's what happens if it's less than 0. So the other condition, or the other case, rather, here we go. Let's try that again. Just copy and paste that. Okay, so if that discriminant is negative, we just did negative. If it's positive, then there are two distinct real roots. Then there are two unique real roots. Okay, so in this case, the graph does touch the x-axis twice. Okay, so if we're looking at the different choices here, choice A, you can see that the graph is touching the x-axis twice, so we know the discriminant's positive there. B, it's only touching once. We'll come back to B. And on E, it's touching twice as well. You can see we've got an x-intercept here, an x-intercept here, so we can say that the discriminant will be positive. Once again, to differentiate between A and E, we would need a separate piece of information, kind of like with C and D. And it would be the same piece of information. If it's opening down, the A value is negative, but if it's opening up, then the A value is positive. Now, just by process of elimination here, we already know the answer is going to be B. But just to kind of finish our case descriptions here, let's try that again. There we go. If that discriminant is equal to 0 rather than being less than 0 or greater than 0, then there is just one unique real root. Another way to say it is that you have a repeated root. You have a root with multiplicity. So then there is one unique real root, and the graph does touch the x-axis, but only once. Okay, in other words, what happens in this case is that the vertex of the parabola is the x-intercept. So it just basically grazes that x-axis and only hits it once. So since B is the only answer choice that has a graph where we have just one x-intercept, our answer choice is going to be B here. Yeah, so that's it for number 58. I hope you enjoyed the video, and y'all have a great day.